Everybody hold on to your hat out there. Fast and Loud is no more. I have exited Discovery, and I'm a free agent.
What?
We're going to be doing some cool things in 2021.
Some of my greatest accomplishments have been my failures because I learned how to do something the right way, or I learned how to not push so hard, or I learned how to market a different way. A lot of people look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, Gas Monkey Garage, Aaron and Richard, we've been working on this for 11 years.
They built cars, chased deals, and lived life in the fast lane. Fast and Loud turned Richard Rawlings and his Gas Monkey Garage crew into reality TV legends. But that was years ago. Since the cameras stopped rolling, things haven't all been burnouts and big paydays. From business struggles to new ventures and even shocking personal setbacks, the stars of Fast and Loud have taken very different roads. So, where are they now? Debuting in 2012 on the Discovery Channel, Fast and Loud followed Richard Rawlings and his crew at Gas Monkey Garage in Dallas, Texas, as they restored classic cars and flipped them for profit. The mix of high-octane builds, wild personalities, and Texas swagger made it one of the most popular automotive reality shows on television. But fame doesn't last forever. In 2020, the show came to an end after 8 successful years. And since then, each cast member's journey has taken surprising, and sometimes rocky, turns. Today, we'll revisit the stars of Fast and Loud, uncovering what happened after the cameras shut off and where they are now.
So, everything that I'm chasing, everything I'm doing kind of relates all the way back to the same thing every time. It's always about, making sure that we've got the quality hot rod shop. We're making a good show for Discovery.
Richard Rawlings. Richard Rawlings was always the face of Fast and Loud. With his tattoos, leather jackets, and sharp business instincts, he wasn't just a mechanic. He was a showman. The success of the series turned him into a household name, and Gas Monkey Garage into a destination for gearheads around the world. After the show ended in 2020, Richard didn't slow down. Instead, he doubled down on building Gas Monkey into a global brand. The Dallas Garage became just one part of a growing empire that included restaurants, merchandise, and international licensing deals. He continued buying, building, and selling cars, but now with a focus on reaching fans online through YouTube and social media. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. Running a brand as big as Gas Monkey meant constant pressure to stay relevant in a competitive market. Richard has faced criticism for shifting away from hands-on garage work to focus more on marketing and business deals. Yet, if one thing defines him, it's adaptability. Today, Richard Rawlings remains the king of Gas Monkey, not just building cars, but building a legacy. Aaron Kaufman. If Richard Rawlings was the showman, Aaron Kaufman was the craftsman. With his signature long beard and quiet focus, Aaron quickly became a fan favorite on Fast and Loud. Viewers loved watching his precision, and creativity turned neglected shells into roaring works of art. He wasn't just a mechanic, he was an artist with a wrench. But in 2017, fans were stunned when Aaron announced he was leaving Fast and Loud. After years of long hours and the pressure of constant deadlines, he wanted more creative freedom. The show's pace demanded quick flips and fast profits, but Aaron dreamed of tackling more ambitious projects, builds that took time, patience, and vision. After leaving Gas Monkey Garage, he launched his own shop, ArcLight Fabrication, in Dallas. The company specialized in custom parts and builds, allowing Aaron to pursue the kind of high-quality craftsmanship he had always wanted to focus on. He even landed his own spin-off shows, including Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman and Aaron Needs a Job, which gave fans a closer look at his world outside of Gas Monkey. Though Aaron stepped away from the spotlight in recent years, he remains respected in the automotive community. For many fans, he's the soul of what made Fast and Loud special. Raw talent, no gimmicks, and a genuine love for machines. Christy Brimberry. While Richard and Aaron grabbed most of the spotlight, Christy Brimberry was the quiet force that kept Gas Monkey Garage from spinning out of control. Known as the zookeeper, Christy worked as office manager, handling the books, the schedules, and the chaos of keeping the shop and the show on track. Fans loved her sharp wit, no-nonsense attitude, and ability to keep Richard in line when his showmanship sometimes went too far. But behind her cool composure, Christy faced battles few fans knew about. In 2016, she revealed she had been diagnosed with thyroid cancer. The news shocked Fast and Loud viewers, who had grown to admire her strength. Christy underwent surgery and treatment, losing her voice temporarily in the process. Through it all, she remained remarkably open about her journey, sharing updates on social media to inspire others facing similar struggles. Her recovery was successful, and Christy returned to work with the same energy that made her beloved. But as the show wound down, she began shifting her focus. Today, Christy has largely stepped away from the public eye, focusing on her family, health, and life beyond the pressures of reality TV. For fans, Christy's story is a reminder that the people who make a show run aren't always the ones on camera building the cars. She was the glue that held Gas Monkey together. And even years later, her legacy as the backbone of Fast and Loud remains intact. While Richard, Aaron, and Christy were the faces fans remembered most, Fast and Loud wouldn't have been the same without the supporting cast, the mechanics, painters, and fabricators who kept Gas Monkey Garage humming. Some became fan favorites, while others quietly disappeared once the cameras stopped rolling. One of the most memorable was Casey Mathieu, the talented painter whose flawless work gave Gas Monkey cars their signature shine. Casey's bright personality and incredible skill made him popular with viewers, but by 2014, he chose to leave the show. He wanted more time with his family and the freedom to pursue projects outside the strict TV deadlines. Since then, Casey has run his own paint shop, Casey's Paint Shop, in Texas, where he continues to build a loyal following for his custom work. He's happier away from the cameras, though fans still check in hoping for updates. Then there was Tom Smith and Jordan Butler, mechanics introduced in the early seasons. The pair were brought in to add more muscle to the shop, but their time at Gas Monkey didn't last long. After clashing with Richard over creative direction and shop culture, both left the show in 2014. They briefly launched their own spin-off series, Fired Up Garage, with Discovery, but it never achieved the same success. Today, both keep lower profiles, taking on smaller projects and living quieter lives compared to their high-profile days at Gas Monkey. Other crew members came and went, each adding their own flavor to the show, but few managed to turn their reality TV fame into lasting celebrity. For most, Fast and Loud was a wild chapter, exciting, stressful, and fleeting. For nearly a decade, Fast and Loud dominated automotive reality TV. Each episode followed the same high-octane formula. Richard Rawlings would chase down a car deal. Aaron and the crew would grind through the build, and by the end, Gas Monkey Garage would, usually, flip a profit. But by 2020, the engines went quiet, and fans were left wondering, why did the show really end? Publicly, Richard Rawlings explained that it was simply time to move on.
With deadlines looming and projects piling up, it can feel like a lot to handle. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with BetterHelp. They connect you with the licensed therapists who really get it.
After 8 years, he wanted more control over his brand without the creative limitations of network television. Discovery Channel had given Gas Monkey a global platform, but it also meant strict schedules, stage drama, and constant filming. Richard, ever the businessman, saw greater opportunities in digital media, where he could reach fans directly through YouTube, social platforms, and live events. But there were deeper reasons too. Behind the scenes, tension had grown. Aaron Kaufman's exit in 2017 had been a major blow. His craftsmanship gave the show credibility with car enthusiasts, and without him, many fans felt the magic faded. Ratings began to dip, and Discovery struggled to recapture the same spark with new spin-offs or cast members. Add to that the grueling pace of production. Cars had to be built faster than real-world shops could realistically manage, which meant long nights, tight deadlines, and crew burnout. What started as a dream job became, for many, a grind. By the late 2000s and 10s, it was clear the formula had run its course. Richard ended the partnership with Discovery in 2020 and declared that Fast and Loud was officially finished. For fans, it was the end of an era. But for Richard and the crew, it was a chance to finally take the wheel of their own futures. The end of Fast and Loud wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of a new chapter for the stars who had spent nearly a decade in the spotlight. Each of them was suddenly faced with the same question: what comes next when reality TV fame fades? For Richard Rawlings, the answer was clear: expand the Gas Monkey empire. Without Discovery's cameras dictating deadlines and storylines, he leaned into entrepreneurship. He grew his restaurants, launched Gas Monkey-branded products, and built a massive online presence. YouTube became his new stage, allowing him to showcase car builds, interviews, and even live auctions directly to fans. In many ways, he proved that he didn't need television anymore. His brand had become bigger than the show. Aaron Kaufman, meanwhile, continued to carve out his own identity away from Gas Monkey. At ArcLight Fabrication, he focused on high-end custom builds, specializing in Ford trucks and parts. While his spin-off shows didn't achieve Fast and Loud's mainstream popularity, they gave him something more valuable: creative control. Aaron remains deeply respected among car builders and enthusiasts, known not for TV drama, but for the integrity of his craft. Christy Brimberry embraced a different path altogether. After years of keeping Gas Monkey Garage organized, she stepped away from the limelight to prioritize her family and health. Fans still follow her on social media, where she shares glimpses of her life, but Christy has chosen peace over pressure. For someone who spent years managing chaos, her quieter life now seems like the real win. As for others like Casey Mathieu, Tom Smith, and Jordan Butler, life after Fast and Loud meant returning to what they knew best: building and fixing cars outside of the spotlight. Some continue to run small shops, some freelance, and others keep their lives private. Fame was fleeting, but the skills that got them on the show in the first place remain their livelihood. Even Barry Weiss, though not part of Fast and Loud, shows a similar pattern seen in reality TV stars everywhere. The spotlight burns bright, then quickly fades, leaving individuals to decide whether to chase it or live without it. For the Fast and Loud crew, post-show life has been about balance: how to keep doing what they love, while also moving beyond the shadow of a show that defined nearly a decade of their lives. When people look back on the golden age of automotive reality TV, Fast and Loud will always hold a special place. It wasn't just a show about cars. It was about personalities, risk-taking, and the thrill of the chase. Richard Rawlings' charisma, Aaron Kaufman's genius, Christy Brimberry's no-nonsense grit, and the crew's colorful energy gave fans a weekly dose of high-octane drama mixed with genuine craftsmanship. The show did something few others managed. It brought car culture to mainstream audiences. You didn't need to be a gearhead to enjoy the banter, the deals, and the big reveals. Families watched together, cheering when a rusted heap was transformed into a roaring machine, or groaning when a project went sideways. It turned junkyard cars into household entertainment, inspiring countless fans to dream about restorations of their own. Beyond entertainment, Fast and Loud also shaped how people saw the business of car flipping. For many, it made the auction and restoration world seem glamorous, though those who worked in the industry knew the reality was far tougher. Still, the show sparked interest in vintage cars, helped small shops get exposure, and even boosted tourism in Dallas as fans traveled to see Gas Monkey Garage in person. Its cultural footprint also lives on in how the stars expanded their influence. Richard leveraged the fame into a global brand. Aaron proved that authenticity and craftsmanship could win respect outside of TV. Christy showed resilience that inspired fans far beyond cars. And even the supporting cast, though less visible now, left their mark as part of a phenomenon that lasted nearly a decade. The legacy of Fast and Loud is a mix of nostalgia, inspiration, and caution. It showed what reality TV could achieve, but also the cost of living life on a deadline, under cameras, and in the public eye. The builds were real, the drama was sometimes heightened, but the impact? That was undeniable. The stars of Fast and Loud lived life at full throttle. For nearly a decade, they built cars, chased deals, and entertained millions around the world. But when the cameras shut off, their lives took very different turns. Some, like Richard Rawlings, built empires. Others, like Aaron Kaufman, pursued passion over profit. Christy Brimberry found strength in survival, while crew members like KC, Tom, and Jordan returned to quieter lives out of the spotlight. Their journeys remind us of a hard truth. Fame is fleeting, but the impact you leave behind can last forever. Fast and Loud wasn't just a TV show. It was a movement that made car culture cool again, inspired fans, and proved that with the right mix of talent and personality, even a garage in Dallas could become a global sensation. Today, the legacy of Gas Monkey lives on, not just in cars and merchandise, but in the people whose lives were changed by it, both the cast and the fans who tuned in week after week. So, what do you think? Did Fast and Loud end at the right time, or should it have kept going? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into the untold stories of reality TV's biggest stars, don't forget to subscribe. Because sometimes the real drama doesn't happen on screen. It happens after the cameras stop rolling.